Everybody is muted now. Remind you all that at the bottom, if you put your cursor at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a chat button, one of those balloons. Please use that if you want to communicate or ask questions. We're going to make a minor change to our process today. Normally, we hold all questions to the end, but as a concession to our people that are taking these presentations and editing them for publication on YouTube, it's been suggested that we pick a couple of questions right after each presentation. So when it's a lot easier to edit, you can pick those in, put them in right after the presentation, and so it goes with the presentation as it's at the end of it. So we're going to give that a try today and see how that works. First of all, let me tell you what we have going today. Andy Zimmerman is a new board member to NRail, and he is also an officer in NMRA, and he's going to frequently on these sessions, not maybe every month, maybe every other month, we'll see how it goes. He's going to tell us what's happening in NRail, in NMRA that affects us as N-scalers. J.M. Gadoury is going to talk a little more today about the NRail channel and videos. Russ Kauffman with N-Scale Architect is our vendor this month, and he's going to talk about what his company has to offer. Terry Moore is going to do his Talking T-TRAK blog as usual. And then our main topic I'm really excited about, Peter Borcherds, did I say it right? I just asked him how to pronounce it. I forgot
Borcherds.
it.
Borcherds.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
I want to French it instead of British it. Peter lives in Great Britain, and he has a railroad called the Chicago Sub in N-scale. All right, so that's what we have coming up today. Next month, we still have some open slots. We are going to, John Wallace is going to talk about reversing loops and how they work. He's going to talk about the AR1 and some other electronics that may be better than an AR1 that we can use for that. And we still have some other openings. We haven't nailed it down yet, but we will let you know as soon as we do. If you have something that you have ready to present for us next month, please let Bruce or I know, and you can send that in an email to, how is it, Bruce? How do you want us?
ZoomTRAK at nrail.org.
That. And with that in mind, JM, since Andy isn't on yet, we're going to go directly to you for our first presentation about the NRail channel and videos.
All right, thank you, Razor. And I am excited to launch off this blog, a monthly blog about videos and how we as NRail members can utilize video to not only show off all of our hard work and what we've been doing, but also to use it as a runway to bring everybody else that hasn't joined us yet into the hobby, becoming an N-scaler, and finding out just exactly why it is we do what we do the way we do it. And right now I'm going to share my screen and let the video do almost all the talking today. I'll be looking forward to a couple of your questions at the end, but today we are going to introduce the first video of the month. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. It is my pleasure to introduce the NRail channel video of the month. In 2008, I traveled with a group of my model railroad friends to Louisville, Kentucky for the N-Scale convention. 2008 was before social media, and it was before smartphones. The videos you're about to see were taken on my 3-megapixel Motorola Razr flip phone. Comcast is my internet service provider, and they provided a program called the Roxio Photo Show, in which I could develop those photos and videos into a presentation. Unfortunately, the nature of the technology at the time trapped my video in the archaic architecture of the software performed by Roxio Photo Show. Recently, it occurred to me that I could use this Zoom technology on which we present ZoomTRAK to play a screen share of my Roxio Photo Show and take that recording and put it into an MP4 file that I could now share with you on YouTube. It is my hope and objective that with this video, you will be inspired to find your archives and share your videos of the history of NTRaK, T-TRAK, FreeMoN, and everything in the world of N-Scale, because it's just too good not to share again. This 14-year-old video still represents some of the best scenery I ever witnessed in my career in model railroading. That Louisville convention in 2008 combined the most modules, the most scenery, the most technology in an ambitious way that NTRaK had never attempted before to that scale. As we witness again these iconic, historic scenes with the audio that was stitched to that Roxio Photo Show, think ahead to what we have before us. What could we construct if we put our minds to it, using our latest technology, and with a mind to record it forever, using our video cameras, our phones, whatever technology we have at our fingertips. So what criteria makes a video of the month? It's a great question. Well, here's the plan. The plan is to collect videos such as this, present them to our NRail board, and have them vote each month on a selection that we can then present at this monthly ZoomTRAK meeting. Just take a look at the playlists on the NRail channel that include videos on NTRaK, T-TRAK, FreeMoN, tips and techniques, shows and conventions, and inspiration. We are looking to highlight and promote videos of club introduction and examples of fun and collaboration when model railroaders get together. Are you and your club members working on something innovative, something that will make life easier, or bring the hobby to a completely new track of experience? NRail is beginning to explore and research the concepts of a Youth Achievers program, where we can accent and promote some of our youngest members and the work that they're doing. We also seek to promote the work of our model railroad craftsmen. So many great veterans with experience in scenery and beginning with bench work and electrical design and everything you could imagine in the NRail playbook. We want to focus on it and we want to promote it. We're going to do it right here. That 2008 Roxio photo show ended with a clip of our traveling team on our route back from Louisville through Clifton Forge, Virginia. And we did some rail fanning. Well, JM, that's nice that you did some rail fanning, but what does that have to do with NRail? If we're to attract new members to the hobby, they need to know what we're about. They need to know what we do for fun, what we're like, and we need to invite them in. So we want to see videos of your rail fanning. If you go from your club to your show to the next rail fan experience, or you go to the restaurant, or you do something as a group and you're having fun, we want to put together that combination of N-Scale Railroading meets People Magazine meets Popular Mechanics. This is a place where we get to express ourselves as model railroaders, as N-Scale enthusiasts, and as people, so that we can attract people that are like us to join us in this great hobby. Thank you for watching this video of the month. Now send your email to videos@nrail.org and let's see what you can put together. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I had fun putting it together. And 2008 was known as the Derby City Express. And I was about 6 years old in the hobby when I took that. And I'm not kidding you. I used a small flip phone, a Razor Motorola flip phone, about a 3 megapixel camera. And you can pretty much tell that that's about all it was. Not the prettiest video, certainly not the clearest, but with our most recent technology, we can far exceed what you just saw, with one exception. It's a challenge before you to try to match that scenery. My goodness. I mean, we got live tornadoes, the Miracle Mile in Milwaukee, we got Doug's Carnival. I mean, there were so many cool aspects of the scenery at that show that to this day, it's still one of the most impressive shows that I ever recall. All right, Razor, we got time for a couple questions?
I'm looking here. The one question I see, how did you find royalty-free background music?
Great question. So there's two parts to that. Number one, what you saw was a Roxio photo show. So that was all part of the package. That was what I purchased way back in the day that I originally created the music. Now, there was an audio that picked up right in the middle of the presentation. That is also audio-free music. Part of what I own is a Luma Fusion app. It's for my Apple iPhone, and I pay about $10 a month for it. To be honest, there's other ways to get royalty-free music for a lot cheaper than that. But the bottom line is that they have paid for all of the rights for me to use it. There are some cases where you might have to say, well, it can be for non-commercial use. Well, the good news here is we're a non-profit and we don't sell our videos, so you're also protected there. That's a great question, though, about copyright. We should always be very mindful of that. Next question.
Actually, the rest of them are comments about how gray your hair has gotten.
Oh, my goodness.
and others just saying it was a great thing. So I think the things that really need response, we've gotten them.
Sounds
so
good.
With that, we'll wrap this up. And the only comment I have is there weren't any pictures of my modules on there. I'm really, really upset.
You know what, Razor? Let's cover that once we get to the Q&A at the end. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Only 720 modules in that layout, so I can appreciate the fact you can't get them all. A lot of modules. It was a great show. All right, so with that, thank you, JM. Let's invite Russ Kauffman with N-Scale Architect to tell us about his business and what he has to offer the N-Scale community. Russ, you're up, my friend.
All right, thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Hope you all can hear and see me okay. For those that don't know, I'm Russ Kauffman. I'm started a company called the N-Scale Architect about 30 some odd years ago, 1991 to be exact. We've manufactured N-Scale structure kits since then. We've also expanded into detail parts, edge products, including fence, benches, scenic details, and we also provide scratch building material in the form of styrene sheets in 5 different scales. I'm not sure, Steve, how much time I had today, but I wanted to give you an idea of some things we've been working on. 5, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So I'll look for the hook. So we haven't been able to do a show essentially for about 2 years now. So I wanted to maybe show people some of the models we've been working on, and also give you an idea of what we have coming down the pike, at least for this year. How does that sound? All right,
Sounds very good.
I thought I would do is some people do this feature called What's on My Bench. So I was going to show you what was on my bench. What you see behind me is the world headquarters of the N-Scale Architect. Security's off today, so we can pretty much roam around wherever we want to. That was a joke. So let me see if this works. We're going to try the screen reversal thing. And literally, this is my bench. On the bench are some products that we basically have revealed, have introduced, I should say, in the last 2 years. Like I said, we haven't done any shows. Some of these models have just been sitting here wanting to go someplace. So today they're going to get somewhere, at least virtually anyway. I'll start with the one that's in the back. This is actually our CNH Brick and Block company. Kind of doing like a drone thing here. So this is the kit we released toward the end of 20. It's a fairly big kit. It runs about almost 24 inches long with all the stuff. The kilns are resin castings. As you can see, the display is actually in pieces. Those are our own originals. All of our resin casting for the last, I don't know, almost 25 years have been done by Dick Billings at Finance Scale. Some of you may know him. And then there's a ton of detail parts in this, some of which we developed specifically for the kit itself. These are what they call kiln cars. And that building there is the actual drying kiln building. And then these are, this is part of I mean, the normal storage yard would be much larger, but this is just the tip of it. And then over here, we have the kind of the inbound part, which is the clay that comes in off the clay quarry or whatever, where it may be a riverbank, could be a hillside. So this would extend to wherever you wanted to go. The track that you see here, the little track, is what we call M-TRAK. We developed that about almost 20 years ago. It's basically NN30, which is kind of a standard mining gauge for 30 inches. So that runs through the whole complex to move finished product in and out, and then in this case, to bring clay in from the banks. So that was, again, the CNH Brick and Block Company. And by the way, this is the main part of the building here. Let me see it. Maybe I'll show you the back. And that's the back part of it. Hopefully y'all can see that pretty well. All right, subsequent to that one, we've come out with a number of what we call TRAK layout builder series, because after 20 some odd years, I finally get around to building a layout. So the first in that series was the Sherwood Bridge, which actually comes in both a base kit and an expansion kit. The one for the layout is 24 inches. This one's only about 15. So the base kit is essentially would be this, the abutments on the end, central column, and then the abutment on the end. The middle kit here is the expansion part, and you can add basically an infinite number of those. And then that gives you kind of a top view of the deck. The reason why I decided to design this is because I have a place in the layout where I didn't want a heavy girder bridge. I wanted something lighter. So I did some research on lattice trusses, and that's how this kind of project came along. So some of these things just kind of come out of the air, and this is an example of it. Subsequent to that one, we came out with the Barnesville Tunnel, which is actually the Barnesville tunnel fan. On the layout, there's actually a couple tunnels. So I want to do something different than just a portal. So I did some research on the Monet Tunnel down in Pennsylvania. I'd visited a couple times, had some pictures. There were some good drawings of it. So suddenly the Barnesville Tunnel fan exists. It includes the graded, the etch grates that you see there, and behind there you can see the fan inside, and that's on the inside as well. And then there's a lining inside the tunnel itself. So that's the Barnesville Tunnel fan. How are we doing on time, Steve?
You got a couple of minutes.
Okay. All right, let's see. Before we get to the sneaky stuff you haven't seen before, this is the fire tower we came out with again toward the end of 20. It's etched stainless steel. It's quite delicate, but as a lot of people have found, it's fairly easy to assemble. It's based on USDA, USGA standard plans. This is the 100-foot model. It can be easily reduced down to basically any of these sections here that you wanted to. So you could go down to as little as 50 feet if you wanted to. So that includes also the optional, shades over the windows, as well as the radio antenna and a ventilation system, believe it or not. So again, that was based on standard plans that we uncovered. Just thought it was kind of a neat thing to put on a mountain or hillside or something. Coming along, that isn't released just yet, is on occasion we redo some of our older kits. Some of our kits are almost over 20 years old. This is an example. This is what we call a pre-production model. This is where I just test for fit rather than for display. So this is the Sheffield Farm Creamery we did back, I think, in would have been 2002. So we've redone it based on some new information that we had based on the prototype, as well as some new material. And basically what you see here is the pre-production version of it, where, again, I'm just testing to make sure everything fits. So that's kind of in the raw, if you will. So look for that probably toward the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. There'll be a new release. We've also got plans to probably do a couple of the other ones in that same generation, probably before the end of the year. One other one that hasn't been released yet is we've done a series of what we call track sides, which include a piece of repurposed rolling stock, essentially. So one of those was the flag stop station, which uses, as the roof is coming off on me here, it's essentially an Overton coach, which has been repurposed as a station. So it includes a platform. It actually includes a coach itself, and then there's a loo or a privy in the back. Hopefully, it gives you an idea there. And then next in the series, which hasn't been released yet, is also using an Overton coach, but this is a different version. This is a combine. Using it as a section house where it's been repurposed for crew or crew layovers, that kind of thing. So that one will be released sometime before the end of the year. And that one's actually a display model version right now. All right, let's see. One last thing, just to a testament to how old I am. This is a steam donkey that I made in 1986. It's back when I had more time, apparently, because all of that is scratch built out of pieces. So I just happened to find that, and I thought people might think that's interesting. I found it in a box of stuff that we're trying to clean up a little bit. What I also thought you might be interested in is just a quick tour of the ongoing layout, which has kind of been on pause for a month or so now. But it's kind of a mess, but what layout isn't? We started that kind of the middle of 2020 because we weren't able to go anywhere kind of during the lockdown. It's kind of a simple 2 continuous loops, be a yard over here, be an industrial section there. The upper section up over here is going to be a harbor. Probably going to, right now the plan is to do that as an intermodal. And then not happy with the color of the rocks just yet, but working on it. So that just kind of gives you an idea what we've been working on in the layout. All right, Steve, did you want to take some questions?
Yeah, let's see. We just have a couple of comments. It's the structures appear very detailed and complex, very impressive. But I don't see any questions. If anybody has a question, now would be the time to ask it. You have to unmute yourself to ask the question.
Tell us how you've used your topside creeper up until now. That's a pretty nice ladder you got there.
Well, it was a birthday present because for those of you that know me, I'm not very tall. So that was about the only way I was able to reach the back of the layout. So its sole and primary use has been the layout. I mean, I guess in practice, they're used mostly for like if you're working on trucks or something, it requires high visibility into an engine or something. But so that's what it's been used for. But I think you can get them. I think Micromart still sells them.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions. Do you have a website? What is it? How do you order? If you have an answer to that, if you would post it to chat, people can pick it up there. And will you be bringing out Williamston coal in N scale?
Yeah, Williamston coal is currently available in N scale.
But it will be next week, is that right?
No, it is. It's been available in N scale for I don't know, since 08 maybe.
Okay.
It's definitely and it is in stock. We also do that one in N and in HO, or in Z and also in HO.
All right. Well, we'll hold any further questions till the end of the program. Russ, thank you very much for sharing your business with us, and people you know now, or you will know, his website is posted on the chat, and you can get a hold of him through that. So with that, we are going to move forward. Andy, you will be up for your what's going on at the NMRA blog, and we'll hold you to 10 minutes at the most, please.
I don't know that I even have 10 minutes worth of information to talk about, but okay.
All right, well, let's move on. Go ahead, Andy, and tell us what you got.
Okay, well, so there's been some changes at the NMRA. They've appointed me as a standards and conformance chair, and we've kind of been turning things upside down. So Gordy, has the new NMRA president, has wanted to see some new life in the NMRA, and wants to see people who benefit from but who have not joined the NMRA or had been an NMRA member in the past come back. And so we're trying to figure out how do we do that. So a lot of the discussion had been around the NMRA just appears to be too HO centric. Everything, articles are all HO, information is mostly HO. So people, N scalers, Z scalers, other scales, they just get frustrated and they feel they're not a part. They feel like they don't have a voice and they're not a part. So Gordy has sought out qualified N scalers to appoint to different positions so that N scale is better represented. And he himself is also an N scaler, so maybe that has something to do with it. But he wants to bring it back to where all scales are represented, and the appearance, even though all scales are represented, he wants to make sure that it still gives that same appearance, that it looks that way to a reasonable man theory, right? So if it looks like it's still HO centric, it doesn't matter how many people you appoint as N scalers or S scalers or any other scale. It's still that feeling is still going to be there, and people still aren't going to join. So so when he appointed me, one of the things that I have asked my team to do under the standards and conformance is to do more reviews on N scale, O scale, S scale if we can find it. The Z scale and even down to T scale, if we can do articles on all of it. And to also to give some room to, the modular model railroading, like NRail and T-TRAK. So they're broadening their horizons, and we're talking about a lot of different ways to make it more inclusive. So and if you guys have any ideas, I'm open to all of it, and I will bring it to the board. Matter of fact, I got a board meeting tomorrow. So if anybody has ideas, you can certainly email me, and if you don't already have it, I'll put my email in the chat.
All right. Well, that's very good, Andy. Appreciate that. And we're all, I think, looking forward to seeing what you can do to support the NRail community in NMRA. It's a great opportunity, and you're a great guy to be working on it. So Andy's email address is now posted on chat. Are there any questions that anyone has right now for Andy?
I have a question. Andy, how does the NMRA Nationals approach in philosophy that you just described, how does that filter down to the regional chapters?
Well, we got to start someplace, right? So if there's a stronger endorsement, I think, at the national level, then I think you'll see more involvement at the regional levels. And again, because HO is such a large has such a large following, a lot of the people that get elected at the regional levels, like Sunshine Region for us, most of them are HO scalers. So if they're not, again, if people don't feel they have a voice, and they don't feel like they're going to be included, they're not going to run for those offices. They're not going to step into those positions or volunteer. So, but if they see that we're trying to be as inclusive as possible, and that we need good people to step up, then hopefully we get those people to set up at the regional levels. But we have to set the bar someplace, and we have to start someplace. So what better place to start than at the top, and then try to filter it down.
All right, very good. Let's move on to our feature presentation today. Frederick, and I still can't remember how to pronounce Borcherds, is somewhere in Great Britain. He has a layout that he is building. He has a blog that's been going on for quite a while, documenting the process of his railroad. And so today he's going to give us about 20 minutes or so about his model railroad. And by the way, I also noticed that Peter also does some reviews of products, and one of them is some of Russ's stuff. Isn't that correct, Peter?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I've only done a few reviews, but I'm trying to do more as I get more products. So I try to review them, any new stuff. Yeah.
All right, you're up, my friend. Take it away.
Brilliant. Okay. So for those who don't know me, so I'm Peter Borcherds. I'm from the UK, originally from South Africa. If you're trying to work out the accent, a bit of a blend of the two. I have been doing N scale for probably about 15 years, actually, maybe a little bit longer. And I originally had a layout called Rochelle Intermodal. So I'm not sure if anyone, any of you remember that one. But I took that down a few years ago and started building this new layout. Now I've done quite a few trips to the States. I go basically to as many conventions as I can. Go across to the States at least once a year. and try go to the main national NMRA conventions, and I've been through to a few of the N-scale ones as well. Now, I usually fly into Chicago because I normally fly United, and because of that, I've got to know quite a few people there, and I've got to do a lot of rail fanning around the area. So that's why my previous layout was based on the what it was now, the Rochelle Railroad Park. So the up in north part of Illinois. And this current layout is now based in Chicago. It's based from Chicago to Aurora, and that's mainly because I just wanted to include some of the passenger traffic as well. For some reason, I started collecting a lot of the Chicago Metro locomotives and rolling stock from Cato, and I have no idea why I started collecting it. I'd never actually been on the Metro until early 2020, really, which is strange. But for some reason, I decided to start collecting them, and I decided this new layout I wanted to incorporate that along with the freight traffic as well, because I do BNSF mainly, and obviously the Chicago to Aurora line is known as the racetrack. A lot of freight traffic as well as the Metro as well. So I thought that'd be quite good to model that. So I'm just going to see if I can share my screen. Let's see if this works. So this is the main route from Chicago to Aurora. So if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you've got Chicago Union Station, which is sort of that section at the top right there, and then it goes along past all these stations here, all the way to the west, so you get to Aurora, which is the end of the Chicago sub, and it then becomes the Aurora sub, which goes up to the Twin Cities. But for what I'm doing just to Aurora, including the Aurora Metro station and Metro yard, and then a couple of the BNSF yards along the route. Currently, I'm doing if I can find it on here, the Western Avenue yard, which is, I think it's just next to Zimmerman Road, I think. I can just see it over here. So that's the yard I'm working on at the moment. My big yard is going to be Cicero, which has got intermodal traffic, big intermodal yard. And then I'm going to move on to the Eola yard, which is just next to Aurora. So it'll be my sort of like an endpoint for the freight traffic on this layout. Now this layout it's going to be a triple level layout. So if I show you my plan, as it is at the moment. So this is my staging yard, so lower level staging. The one at the front, so your top of your screen is the Metro yard. And there are 6 tracks on there. And then I've got a 7-track freight yard behind that. And you see on the right-hand side of that, there's an escape route for the locomotive. So at least I can get a locomotive out and run it round. Whereas obviously the Metro is stub-ended, because that's the way the Metro works. It only goes, locomotives go out of Chicago, and then the cab cars come in. So it's you don't have to turn them. So there's no need for a run around there at all. And then I have a helix that goes up to the first level. Now that's all constructed. I'll give you a tour just now of that. The room I'm in is actually a single car garage, which is, the usable space is 20 foot by 11 foot. I've got a workshop off to the side as well, which is not included in that measurement. That's another, I think it's about another 4 foot by 11 foot, I think, space for the workshop. So I'm trying to maximize the use, which is why I've gone for quite narrow boards. So they 18 inches wide, apart from the helix, but the rest are 18 inches, and they vary in size. I'm using modules that I've purchased from a local company, just to save me having to build the modules myself. So they're laser cut, and each board at the moment is about 6 foot, just to make it easier for me to put them together. So the yard at the moment is 12 foot long, this lower staging yard. And then going up the helix, you then get to the Western Avenue yard, and the top part of the screen. So the top of the bottom of the lower half of the screen, you'll see the Western Avenue yard, just in front of the chap with the coffee cup. That's the Western Avenue yard, which will just be a small little interchange yard, just a bit of traffic for local switching. And then at the back, so the bottom of your screen, which is against the back wall of the layout, or the garage rather, is the 4-track main. Because at the stage of the racetrack, it is a 4-track main. It eventually becomes a 3-track. But this is the 4-track main with the Western Avenue metro station, which is literally just platforms and a couple of canopies, and that's it. It doesn't have a station building or anything. It's just a very, very basic station. And that is what I've built at the moment. So I'm halfway through the Western Avenue yard. What I'm sort of planning as I go along. So the next stage will be going into this Y, and I'll show you on a map just now what that is, but it interchanges with the Norfolk Southern. So the Norfolk Southern actually goes underneath the metro to the right of your screen. And there'll be another 4 tracks on the left-hand side. I've just put in the BNSF tracks for now, but the Norfolk Southern tracks will go just above those, and they've got underneath the BNSF. And there will be a lot of industries along this section. And some of them on the north side of the river, some of them on the south side of the river, because I haven't got the space to do the whole lot, I'm just sort of choosing a few from the south and a few from the north, just to have a bit of a switching district on this peninsula. Then I haven't really got anything further or planned yet, but it's going to be obviously based on the track plan, the real track plan, but I haven't got around to planning the rest of it yet. I'll just do that as I go along. At the top part of the screen is going to be the main Cicero yard. So that'll be the main BNSF yard, including the main intermodal yard as well. So that's where most of the intermodal traffic will come and go from. And those of you who've been to Chicago will know that most of the traffic is actually intermodal, coming out of Chicago and going sort of west. So that's how far I've got with the planning of it. Just to show you, let's see if I've got it here. Just a brief overview of the Chicago sub. It's a sort of 38-mile route. So that is the route I'm going to be modeling. It's only a 38-mile section, so I'm just going to put as much of it as I can into the space I've got. So let me just give you I'm just going to exit this, and I'll give you a tour of the layout. So go back to the screen, see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So right. So this is, if you guys can all see the screen here. This is the garage. So it's a bit messy at the moment because I'm trying to move everything around, trying to get, I've got the exercise equipment and everything in here. But this is the layout as it is at the moment. So down here, we've got the 2 yards. So you've got your metro yard at the front, and then at the back, we have the Chicago freight yard, which is the 7 tracks at the back there. I haven't got much freight out at the moment. I'm just basically, it's still in the testing stage. So that is the lower staging. You see, I've got some storage underneath. I just made it, and I'm going to have fascias across the whole lot, just to cover these sections here, fold down storage as well. So it'll be panels like that fall down and make it quite neat once I finish with it. I'm going to be doing, I don't know if those of you have seen my previous layouts, I had a lot of Android tablets around that's going to be having the NMRA screens on them, the NMRA panels to control the turnouts on the yards. So that's all going to be from there. And it's also going to be NMRA operations as well. So you'll have the operations panel with the manifests and everything, and the conductor panels on these screens. And so those will be at each switching location. You'll have a panel with the tablets, and then also your throttle sockets and the holders, and also drinks holders as well. So just it'll be like that at each operating section. Just make it easier for the operators to be able to plug their throttles in and have everything in one place. So I'll show you now from here. We then go to the helix. Now this helix, I've heard horror stories about building helixes, and I decided to use the easy way and order a helix from Germany. It's a helix kit, and it comes with, I think it's a 6 mil ply, I think it is. Not sure what it is in inches, sorry, metric over here. And it's, you can just choose how many sections you want, and it comes with all the threaded rods and everything. It comes as a complete kit, and it's quite easy to put together. And just to make it easier for myself, I'm using the Kato ZoomTRAK, the super elevated curves, and just made it a lot easier to put everything together. And those of you who've seen my YouTube channel, that you can have a look at it later. I've got a video on how I did this, and I basically just put each section together and just slid it down the helix, which is just so easy to do. So I built the helix first and I put the track in afterwards, which is normally the different way to where everyone else does it. So that's the helix there. And now actually, if you see in the middle of the helix, I've also got the block detection for the helix. So that's all inside here. I'm using ZoomTRAKs for my controls, my DCC system, and for my signaling and block detection. Just because I've had that for the last 20 years, I think, when I had an HO layout as well. So when you get to the top, you come around, and this comes into the Western Avenue yard, the east end of the Western Avenue yard. And at the front here is a housing district, so it's going to be a lot of houses and a couple of warehouses as well, this lower section. And those of you who know Chicago will know there are underpasses that go underneath the tracks in this particular part of Chicago. So I've got an underpass I've built that's going to go underneath here. And then going on to here, I've just started doing the Western Avenue yard. I'm using NRail to do the track plan. So this is full scale track plan I printed out. Just makes it easier to lay the track. And I've just started doing the back tracks over here. So main 3 and 4 over here. And that's as far as I've got at the moment. It's all operational all the way to here. So it's all block detected. I started putting signals in. Those of you who follow me will know I've done a few reviews for Showcase Miniatures. And these are their new D-type signals, which are actually really, really nice. Go together quite easily, and they look amazing. If you look at them, they're really realistic, perfectly to scale and everything. And with the clever design of the LEDs, it's like a three-part LED, so like a little board with 3 LEDs on it, and then all you've got is 4 wires from there. So you don't have to fiddle around with a whole pile of wires. It's literally just 4 wires, and that's it. So easy to put together. So I'm starting to put those in, and so that is what it is at the moment. So it's coming on. It's been a bit slow, but I'm going to do quite a lot in the next couple of months. I just want to at least get to the peninsula, you know, get the boards done, and then in the next few weeks I'm going to start scenery. Once I've got the track work done on this section here, I'm going to start the scenery of this top level, and then get that all done, and then I can continue with the rest of it. And then just one last thing, which is, let's just get the screen back up again. So I'm experimenting with cats for the dispatcher panel, and you can see, so here's the metro yard and the BNSF yard at the bottom, the freight yard, and then helix. I've got detected each level of the helix, so that's the bottom level, level 1, level 2, for both main tracks. So at least I can see what's in the helix at any time. And it also helps with the signaling as well. And then at the moment, it just goes up to the top level, which is this here, the arrival departure yard so the arrival departure track for the yard, and then the 4 mains. The rest of the yards won't have detection. I just needed it for this, because the plan is for this metro, I'm the plans to use Railroad and Co. to do the automation of the metro line. I'm going to see how that works. I did it a bit with my old layout. So that'll be the idea, is to have this metro line automated by Railroad and Co. And then the freight will be manually run by operators. So they'll just have to interact with the freight, with the metro traffic. So bit of a concept, but I'll see if that works. But yeah, so that is where I've got to at the moment. And you can see the height of the layouts. So yeah, so the I can't remember the exact measurements, but the staging yard, the first level is going to be there. And then if I show you over here, this is going to be the top level, will be this height over here. And this is going to be, when it comes around eventually, the Aurora metro yard will be above here. So this is where the layout will end, sort of above this helix. And the idea is to have another helix just over here. That'll take it up to the third level, and that'll continue round and then over to the side over here. So yeah, so that's where I've got to. If anyone's got any questions, obviously just shoot away and let me know. So ask away, rather.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Peter. Let's see, I'm looking for message. We've got a lot of more messages referring to Andy's presentation. I don't see anything yet on yours, but the simple thing is that if you go on YouTube, you can find Peter's blog with, I think you've got something like 20 some segments on this layout. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about that at the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's still adding to that. So it's interesting to follow, and he has some other things interesting as well. We thank you very much, Peter, for staying up. It's what, 9 or 10 o'clock?
It's 10 o'clock here. Yeah, 10 in the evening at the moment. Yeah. So it's not too bad.
Thank you for taking the time to present this to us.
My pleasure.
It looked very familiar. Several of us were up in Chicago 2 weeks ago for ProRail, and we were running right along that line. The hotel was right there on that main line.
Yes, it's great. I just love that area. Really good. Yeah.
So raise questions for Peter, if I can.
Yep. Sure. So, far away.
So, Peter, real quick, if you could post your blog in the chat.
Will do. Yeah. Okay.
So we can jump to it from here, and then we can bookmark it and favorite it
I'll
in YouTube.
pop that in right away.
Okay. And then secondly, your helix, is that like the standard 2% grade?
I'm just trying to think what I think it's about a 2.5% grade, I think.
So
I did have it.
Do you find that your engines have a little more difficulty getting some of the longer runs?
Well, I find I've got a whole lot of the new scale trains auto racks. I've got about 12 of them, and I sort of need 3 locomotives to get that up the helix. 3 scale trains locomotives. The Catos actually have a better pulling power for some reason, but sort of need about 3 to get up there. The metro stuff, long metro, there's 1 locomotive gets it up, no problem at all, because they're quite light. Yeah, but generally 2 to 3 locomotives for a decent, long, properly weighted train is what it takes to get them up. But it's literally just getting the stuff to the top. Most of the traffic will be on the main bit of the layout, and then just shorter ones will go up and down the helixes. So,
thank you.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go look at some more of this chat over here.
Razor, let me interrupt and say, while we're looking over that, I'm going to launch the poll and would like people to fill that out at your convenience. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that set up here for people to go ahead and answer. The other thing I was going to mention is that if you look at the NRail website, you will see at the bottom a partner item. If you click on that, you can find our partners. And since N-Scale Architect is now a partner, there's a link to his website on there. So go ahead.
Okay. There was a lot of response to Andy's little blog. Some of it concerning the relationship between NTRAKers and the HO people and that Andy's working to try and improve. One of the comments refers to the upcoming NMRA convention in St. Louis. And we all know, I think those of you that have been following it, the whole national train show has been moved away from downtown Chicago. It's over in Illinois. Transportation is by bus from the convention site, and they have reduced the amount of space significantly that is being allowed for that. Glenn Komprosky has been working on that convention. I think your group, Glenn, is kind of the lead group in charge of that with Gateway, aren't you?
Jeremy Jansen and Dale Blust have the NTRAK part, and they're in the main room, and they're getting squeezed because Jenny keeps selling boots, and that Monroe Stewart keeps getting updates on how much less space he's got. They put T-TRAK in a separate room, so we have issues with getting credentials and getting tables. So we're waiting on Jenny to find out about that.
Okay. We are just beginning the conversation with the crew in Dallas-Fort Worth regarding the NMRA convention in 2023 in Grapevine. And I should be able to report on that at our next ZoomTRAK meeting, how that's coming. Next, the 2023 convention is the 50th anniversary of NTRAK. So we're hoping to have a fairly large layout. We have had recently developed helixes that link NTRAK to T-TRAK and NTRAK to Fremo. And we are exploring the possibility that of having a multi-loop NTRAK layout with a tie through the helix to some T-TRAK modules and with a tie through another helix on up to the Fremo. So it could be very interesting. I know that the Gaylord has tons of room, so space is not a problem. The problem is the NMRA leasing all that space. So we're early, we'll see how that develops. But in the meantime, hopefully we'll have some good results in St. Louis. So another comment, Indy Junction is coming up next week, and I believe it's kind of includes kind of a modified Serops event, but only operating on 2 layouts because of the demand. But it is a great event, and that's coming up next week in Indianapolis. It's a what is it? There's three districts putting together for this convention, and it should be an interesting time. So let's review. Next month is coming up on June the 11th, 4 weeks from now. And the program is still not finalized, but if you have something that you would like to present, please let us know. We're pretty flexible. We can get these things scheduled pretty easily. I want to thank all of you for attending. Hope all of you have filled out your poll. Any other final comments from anyone before we shut this down?
I'd just like to apologize verbally to everybody. It was inadvertent, my being late, so I apologize for not being where I was supposed to be on time. That's not great for a military guy to have to come back and have to say that. So I'll do better next time, guys. Thanks.
You're worth waiting for.
If I can add something real quick, can you
go ahead?
Can you hear me? I'm out here in Southern California, and we've had not bad luck with our modular integration with conventions. Our NTRAK group has managed to set up for years with when we had the little local meets. The biggest problem was getting our modular guys to go interface with the rest of they didn't want to leave the modules and go attend clinics. And we've been slowly getting people doing that. But one of the really big changes is we also got into T-TRAK, and the local guys out here at the PSR discovered that was a great way to set up a very fast display on even a one-day event. They got us a couple of tables. We'd be right there in the central lobby, and we walk in, set up, it's ready to go. And they realize that it's very advantageous to have a model railroad convention and meet with a model railroad. And even the guys who are in the bigger scales look at it from the standpoint of, well, they're scenic displays, and they start digging into the details and admiring how much you can do in a small space.
Mark, that's actually how I got the HO guys to start in with HO T-TRAK. So they have almost 100 some odd modules now at our club here in Tallahassee. So and we get a lot of comments about the HO T-TRAK when other clubs come to visit during our show every year. So that's it's absolutely true. They're quick and easy to set up, and you can do a multitude of things very quickly. Matter of fact, Gordy, I did a video presentation with him in our last show and showed him what T-TRAK could do, and what you could get out of it, both in and HO, and I don't think he'd ever seen a T-TRAK laid out like that before. So he was very impressed. So I encourage the Indy guys, who's ever going to Indy for T-TRAK, please get him over in that corner and have him take a look. So.
All right. I just realized, thanks to a note here in chat, that I skipped Terry Moore. Now we're running a little long. It's about 10 after 4, but if you guys can hang around for about 10 more minutes, Terry does have his blog to present. And Terry, I apologize for skipping past you. If you're ready to rock and roll, maybe we can put you up right now.
I wasn't going to say anything, Razor, because you fellas drive the show, and I saw what time it was. I just figured I was going to have a month off. I wouldn't have to do something for next month because it's already done. Okay, let's give it a shot.
All right.
Talking T-TRAK. Today I'm dealing with an already open can of worms, the branch line junctions. Standards provide a common ground, but do not stop creativity and imagination. Some of this imagination and creativity can lead to solutions that are the same, only different. In our case, modules can be created that may fill the need of an individual or a club, but can have subtle differences that need to be addressed when joined together in a large community layout. Five designs of the branch line junction theme so far. Considering the ingenuity of our T-TRAK family of model railroaders, there are probably more created by individuals or clubs to suit their needs. These 5 are all based on the length of a triple straight module and do at least 2 things very well. Some will do more, while others need help by adding some track. These 4 are fine for supplying a large loop with large radius corners, or to provide a connection to a branch to a balloon track or rail yard. Dave Ferrari's version of a branch line junction works with large corners, is as long as a triple module, relates well with standard corners and Steve Jackson junctions, and allows for a run-through track on a classic T-TRAK layout single row of tables. Adding straight track pieces to the nose of the junctions will equate the size of a large corner, allowing them to be used to create more interesting layouts. Due to the length and the multi-track piece construction of some adapters, creating a mini module or at least attaching the track pieces to a board for support may be advisable. All of these junctions with the radded trackage can be included into a layout with 447, 480 millimeter large radius corners in any number of ways. With the radded adapter tracks, they're all on common ground. A little aside here, in fact, they can be included in layouts with standard 282, 315 millimeter corners when the junctions are treated as large corners with their added track pieces, and the usual considerations are taken when combining large and standard corners. That's a story for another day. CMR's second design will do all those things too, but with the necessary straight track pieces included in the design, additional pieces of straight track are not required to equate the 447, 480 millimeter large corners. It's an almost perfect world. CMR's current version of their branch line junction is a perfect companion to the large radius corners in any situation. This design uses number 6 turnouts, but it's 4 millimeters short of a triple straight module length, so that it's a perfect match with a large corner. But it's within the fudge factor limits that I strive for. With a little change of the straight track pieces, the second version of CMR's branch line junction can be constructed in left and right sections for ease of transport and storage. The design of the one on the right started as 2 pieces. The 2 halves of the junctions can be used in some creative ways. Regardless of which junction design you may choose or already have, with the appropriate adapter tracks, they can all be used in a layout using large radius corners. The junctions do not need to be all of the same design. If your vast availability of a variety of large junctions happens to include 2 of the same design, they can be used as a matching end-to-end pair for a large loop, which would allow the mini module adapter tracks to be left at home. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Again, I apologize for skipping past you. One other thing I want to promote here today is I want you all to remember that the N-Scale Enthusiast Convention is just over a month away. It's the end of June. So it'll be a week or 2 after our next ZoomTRAK meeting. With that in mind, I hope you all have a great remaining month of May, a great Memorial Day weekend coming up, and we will see all of you next month on June the 11th for our next ZoomTRAK meeting. Thank you all very much and have a great day.
Thank you, Razor.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for everything you all do.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the invite, you guys. Maybe later in this year we'll give you another update. Thank you.